All right, let's get right into this one. It's a seriously chilling story, adapted from a popular Hindi horror tale. We're going to follow a guy on his late-night commute home. And trust me, what starts as just a normal, boring bus ride, well, it ends up somewhere completely different.
So, picture this. It's a dark, stormy night. The rain is just coming down in sheets. And our guy, Tushar, he's late leaving work, and he's practically sprinting through the streets because he cannot miss that last bus home. You know that feeling, right?
So, this is where his journey begins, on this really stormy night. I mean, it's got all the makings of a classic horror movie, right? The pouring rain, flashes of lightning. But Tushar, he's not thinking about that. He's just so relieved when he finally scrambles onto the bus.
And he is just wiped out from the day. He slumps into his usual seat, the corner one, by the window. And for a minute, it's actually kind of peaceful, just the sound of the rain drumming on the roof. But that feeling of calm, yeah, that is not going to last long.
And here's where things start to get really weird. We're getting into this mysterious crowd. Like I said, that moment of peace he had, it's already over. Tushar is so tired he just nods off for what feels like a second, but when he opens his eyes, the entire bus is completely different.
I mean, it is packed. People are everywhere, standing, sitting, crowding the aisle. Tushar is just completely floored. He's thinking, wait a minute, I don't remember stopping, not once. So where in the world did all these people come from?
And you can see his mind trying to make it make sense, right? He's like, okay, I'm just exhausted. My brain's playing tricks on me. I must have been asleep longer than I thought. So he just brushes it off, tells himself to chill out, and closes his eyes again. But then, he opens his eyes again, and poof, they're all gone. The bus is totally empty, silent, just like it was before. And again, no stops were made. So now, all those logical explanations, they're out the window. And that's when this really creepy feeling starts to settle in.
And now we get to the old man's warning. So Tushar is sitting there, trying to process this whole vanishing crowd thing, when he becomes aware of something new. It actually starts with a smell, this really sharp, specific smell of a beedi, which is a type of Indian cigarette. He looks over, and sitting right next to him is this old man. Wrinkled face, really intense, piercing eyes. Tushar is so desperate for any kind of explanation at this point, so he asks him, "Hey, did you see all those people?" And what the old man says back? Well, it's the first real confirmation that something is seriously wrong.
He looks at Tushar and says, 30 years, son. For 30 years, I've traveled on this bus every night. And then he tells him, basically, that no one in their right mind gets on this bus after midnight. He starts telling Tushar the story of his own from a year ago on this exact same bus route.
So get this, the old man says the bus was empty, just like tonight. Then, out of nowhere, this guy appears with these totally empty, lifeless eyes, and he points right at the old man and whispers, "You shouldn't be here." And then, gone, vanished into thin air. Tushar's trying to laugh it off, thinking it's just some crazy ghost story, but the way the old man tells it, it's definitely planting a seed of real fear.
And now, the bloody face. But you know how it is when you're just that tired? Fear is one thing, but exhaustion, it just wins. So he dozes off again, just for a bit. But this time, when he wakes up, it's not confusion he finds, it's pure terror.
Okay, so he wakes up and the old man is gone. But there is someone else there, a man, sitting across from him, just reading a newspaper, hiding his entire face. It's now 1 a.m. The bus is dead silent. Tushar's heart is just hammering in his chest as he manages to ask the guy who he is. And the man, ever so slowly, starts to lower the newspaper. You can just feel the tension, right? It's that moment where time just seems to stretch out and Tushar is just holding his breath, waiting to see who's behind it. And what's behind that newspaper is an absolute nightmare. The man's head is crushed, just drenched in blood. And his eyes, they're those same empty, lifeless eyes the old man was just talking about. Tushar just flinches back in total horror, but then a cold hand grabs his shoulder. He looks again, and the man's face is clean, no blood. He's smiling, and he says, "Got scared, didn't you? Strange things happen on this bus at night." He warns Tushar to get off, and then he just jumps from the moving bus. Tushar hears this sickening thud on the road outside. And now we finally see the bus's true reality. Okay, that's it. Tushar's mind is racing, but one thought is crystal clear.
I have to get off this bus. Right now. This isn't about being confused or spooked anymore. This is pure survival.
So he makes a run for it. He scrambles to the door, and as the bus slows for a stop, he just launches himself out into the rain. He's standing there, soaking wet, terrified, just watching the bus pull away. But the absolute worst part? It's not over yet. Because as he's watching that bus drive off into the darkness, he finally sees it for what it really is, and it's 100 times more horrifying than he could have possibly imagined.
The thing driving away isn't a bus. It's a wreck. A completely half-burnt, twisted piece of metal, the remains of a terrible accident. And in the windows, he sees them. The faces of all the dead passengers. The old man is there, the man with the newspaper is there, and he's smiling right at him. Tushar realizes he wasn't just on a weird bus, he was on a ghost bus. He was literally riding with the dead. Which brings us to this final, really unsettling question. After a night like that, would you ever take the last bus home again? It kind of makes you think, doesn't it? The next time you're on a late bus or a train and it's mostly empty, you might start to wonder about the rides that came before you, and who or what might have been sitting right where you are.